What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Ray Espinosa. It has been about 10 months since I last posted on YouTube. The last lab that I posted was about Active Directory, I want to say, in which we created two virtual machines using VirtualBox. One was for a domain controller running Windows Server 2019, and then the other one was for our clients. Man, since then I've been pretty busy with school, being a parent, working multiple jobs at the same time. So I have posting on YouTube and social media has definitely gone onto the back burner. But we are back. I am currently on winter vacation, and I wanted to bring back a different type of lab. It's going to be kind of a long one. I was originally going to break this down into two separate videos, one on installing a specific type of software, and then the second part, the hands-on portion. But I'm just going to try to knock it out in one video instead. And basically what we are going to be doing is configuring one of these bad boys. This is a Cisco 4200 series router. I think it's a 4221. This is what the backside looks like. There we go. Now fortunately for you, right? You don't have to go out and spend $100 on eBay through some shady characters possibly to buy one of these. What I'm going to show you today is going to cost you $3.99. Not a single penny, just a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. So with that being said, here is what we're going to learn today. We are going to install a particular software, which again is free. And then secondly, we're going to learn how to configure this router. Now this router that I have, I just use it just for training purposes. It's not the actual router running the internet at my place. So with that being said, let me set up our classroom environment, and I will see you guys in the classroom. All right, everyone. I removed my camera so that way I have maximum real estate for you guys to use. The very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to go to your favorite browser, whatever browser that may be. And what we are going to look up is something called Cisco Netacad, Netacad. And the very first link that pops up should be netacad.com, and that stands for Networking Academy. By the way, that's the link that you want to click on. And this is it. So Cisco got to be the #1 networking hardware company out there. If you work at any enterprise level type of setting, your company more often than not is running some sort of Cisco hardware, whether it's routers or access points or switches. I'm willing to bet your company is running Cisco more often than not. And something that Cisco does is that they provide some really good training, specifically this piece of software called Cisco Packet Tracer, which is what we are going to be installing. And what Cisco Packet Tracer is essentially, it is a network simulation and visualization tool. Right? It's developed by Cisco Systems, so they own it. And you can just do so many things with this tool. It's a learning tool, but it can also be used practically out in the field because it allows you to simulate network devices. It allows you to create network topology designs. Now you can do packet level simulations. You can use different protocols and technologies. You can troubleshoot and test, and in my case, educational scenarios and labs, which is what we use in class and at school and what we will be using here. So the very first step, the hardest part of this whole lab is actually installing Packet Tracer because you got to have some patience. So if you went to netacad.com, you should now be at this page, the home page. And so the very first thing you want to do is go to the login link and select login. Next, if you go to the very bottom, you see it says don't have an account. Select sign up. Go ahead and fill this out and hit register. What will then happen is you will receive an email asking you to confirm your email. You click on that link to confirm your email, and it should, best case scenario, prompt you right back to Netacad. You type in your password, confirming your email, and you are good to go. If you get some sort of an error, then you simply have to wait. It took me about 45 minutes getting a second email, in which it just took Cisco that much longer to verify my actual email. And then you'll just have to reset your password. They'll send you another email about 45 minutes later and asking you to reset your password. You'll reset your password and you'll be good to go. Now, once you get those emails, once you're able to log in, you go ahead and log in. Once you log in, you should be right here at the home page. You will then go to courses, the courses tab. Don't click on it, just hover your cursor over it, and then go down to packet tracer and select that. Now this might look slightly different for you, as I already have packet tracer and I've already technically taken the course. Now don't let that scare you. You don't actually have to take a course. But once you select packet tracer from courses, right here under this the very top of your page, it says view courses. Select that and a new little window will pop up. Go ahead and select the blue hyperlink skills for all, and it should open up a new window. Once you're here, make sure the language you want is selected. And then middle of the screen towards the right, it says enroll in our short getting started with Cisco packet tracer, and you'll see the link. Select that. Again, make sure your language is selected and then click right next to it where it says get started. This next login window, do not log in right away. Instead, right below the login button, it says or continue with Google. And then there's this blue and white icon that says Cisco Network and Academy. Select that. And it should prompt you to log in with your username and password. Or in my case, it just brought me right back to this getting started with Cisco packet tracer. And let me see here. Okay, resume course. Close that out. Once you select on either resume course or begin course, I can't remember exactly which one it was. It might just say resume course for me because I've already done this before. You don't actually have to complete the course. I recommend you do. Cisco recommends you do it as well. Just scroll down until you see the download 1.0.3 download Cisco packet tracer. You got this big old tab right here. It says to obtain and install your copy of Cisco packet tracer, please follow the instructions from the link below. I know this is a lot of clicking. Like I said, this is the most difficult part of this. Just being patient. Once you're here at the resource hub, you're going to scroll down until you see the steps right here. Select whatever version you need for your operating system. I'm using Windows, so I'm going to select the Windows 64-bit. And then it's going to ask you for a location to save it. Mine is already on this PC under my download, so I don't have to worry about it. So just hit save and it should automatically start downloading Cisco packet tracer. Once you've downloaded, you should have an icon here on your desktop, Cisco packet tracer. I have it already pinned to my taskbar, so I'm gonna select that, open it. Be advised that a Cisco packet tracer doesn't have a dark theme. You can go to your computer's actual settings and invert your color settings to make this dark, and it works just fine. What we can do is go to options, go to the first selection, which is preferences, and then go to font. What I suggest that you do is you change your CLI font size to something bigger than 14. I like to do mine at 18. And then router iOS text, I do white and I do the background black. By default, it's inverted. By default, it's a white background with black letters. Hit apply and then close. This is not meant to be an in-depth course or tutorial on Packet Tracer. If that is what you're looking for, then I suggest you take the free course on Etacad, or just go to YouTube and look for some videos on there. There's some content creators that have some really good videos on Packet Tracer. But for the purpose of this lab, we're only using the tools and icons that we need. Okay, let's get to it. First thing I need to do is I need to put some notes here. Give me 1 second, move this microphone out of the way. We'll call this notes. So router IP will be 192.168.10.30. Subnet mask will be 224. PCA will be 192.168.10.30. Subnet will be okay. What will be? Oh, that's where I make the mistake. Okay, so that's just kind of for just some notes for later in the lab. We'll call it mylab.com. Okay, now that we've got some notes in here, and these IP address ranges you can use as well. At the very bottom left, you see all these little icons. We're going to use some of these icons. The very first one is, let's select end devices. Okay, and then below that, make sure end devices is selected again, and let's choose PC and just throw that right there. Next, let's go to network devices, which is the first one. Make sure routers are selected below it. Select this 4331. Pop it right there. Now, real quick, let's take a look at this router. Now, this router is just like mine. It's a different model. It's a newer model, so it looks slightly different, but for the most part, it's the same. This is a 4300 series router. I have a 4200 series router. This one has 4 interfaces. Mine only has 2, but you still have your console port, an auxiliary port, USB port. You got your power switch for on and off. Yeah, so just like mine. Pretty cool. Close that out. Next, select this lightning bolt. Make sure the lightning bolt is selected, and we're going to select this light blue colored cable called a console cable. Select the PC and select RS-232. And then on the router, you want to select console, not USB console, but actual console. Real quick. So this is what we selected. This is a console cable. On the router side, it's taking this RJ45 connection, and on the PC side or my laptop, it has a USB connection. So on the router, this is where you put it. Even matches the color, the light blue color. It says console on there. RJ45. Older console cables have a different end. They usually have a DB9 or DB25 connector. And then, which case, if your laptop or your PC doesn't have a DB9 or DB25, then you have to get a second cable that has a DB9 to USB port. Anyways, RJ45 to USB, like $7 or $13 on Amazon. Get you one of these. Next, go back down to the connection section, and select this copper straight through cable. Select PC. fast Ethernet 0, this is your actual network cable. Select router and then select gigabit Ethernet 01. Now notice that you have two red triangles. That's just because there's no connectivity between them yet. All right, that is now set up. Now we're gonna get into the really fun stuff. Let's click on the router and go to you have these 4 tabs up top: physical, configuration, CLI, and attributes. Select CLI. Okay, actually, I'm gonna set up one more set of notes right here. This one, I'll call it steps. So step 1 will be to place icons, which we just did. Next will be to configure the router. 3 will be to configure PC IPs. 4 will be to test connectivity, login SSH. All right, there we go. Now that's a very simplistic way of putting it, but that's everything that we're gonna do. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and select router. All right, select the CLI tab. Now, whenever, actually, go. Even with the physical router in real life, for realsies, this is what the prompt looks like when you first turn on your router. Same setup. You may have a lot more of these symbols like this pound symbol, but you may have different symbols. Scroll all the way to the bottom until you get to the system config dialog. Would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? Select the letter N and enter. Press return to get started. So there are different what's called command modes. Right now we are in what's called user exec mode. You know you're in user exec mode because you have the name of the router. In this case, by default, Cisco Packet Tracer calls your router router. If this was a switch, it would be called switch. And you have this greater than symbol. That's how you know you are in user exec mode. User exec mode really doesn't allow you to do anything. You can't configure anything on the router. It just has a limited number of monitoring commands. That's it. So what we want to do is we want to go to the next level up, which is called privileged exec mode. And the command to do that, let me get some space, is enable. ENABLE. Hit enter. And you are now in privileged exec mode. Now, there are going to be some subsequent commands, some configuration commands that you have to enter, but you cannot enter them unless you are in privileged exec mode. So this mode will allow access to all commands and features going forward. So you know you're there because you have your symbol has now changed to the pound sign or the hashtag symbol, whatever you want to call it. So enter a few times. The next command is something called global configuration mode or global config mode. The command for that is config space the letter T. Hit enter. You should get this prompt saying enter configuration commands, 1 per line, and with Control C. And now you have this added letter of config in parentheses. Hit enter. I like to hit enter. It's just a recommendation. That way you can get space in between the commands you've used. With that out of the way, we are going to get into our configuration table. From here, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the name of the router. The command for that is host name, 1 word, space, and then whatever name you want to give the router. For training purposes, we'll call this R1. And notice the prompt right away changes it to R1. The next step is to disable the domain name system DNS lookup feature. So by default, when you enter an unrecognizable command, so if you fat finger a command or you accidentally add a space where you shouldn't add a space or whatever the case may be, by default, the router will attempt to interpret the command as a host name and perform a DNS lookup. Right. So the command that we're going to use here is a feature designed to help. We will assign a domain later on, but for now, we want to, because even I'm gonna mess up some of these commands, I'm sure, we're gonna disable it right away. So the command for that is no IP domain dash lookup. All right, you won't get anything back, but just know that you are good to go. Next, I'm gonna go back to privileged exec mode. There's 3 ways of doing that. The first one, like it says right here, it says you can end with Control Z. So if you hit Control Z, it will back you up. Hit enter. Look at that, back in privileged exec mode. Another tip, in each one of these command modes, if you just cycle up and down with the arrow, it'll show you your previously used commands. So let's go to config team. Another way to back out is with the word exit. Exit only takes you back out 1 level. So let's say you're inside of an interface, which we will be later. If you hit exit, it'll take you back out to config mode. Hit exit, it will take you back out to privileged exec mode. But if you are in, give me 1 second here, ignore the following command. So right now I am inside of an interface which is inside of the configuration mode, which is inside of privileged exec mode. If I hit end, it'll take me all the way back to privileged exec mode. See? Okay, so within privileged exec mode, we are going to do something called show running config. What this does is it shows you the running configuration. So as you're configuring the file, this is what we are doing so far. So we started right here, show running config. It's building the configuration. The current configuration is at 662 bytes. This is a big one. This is an important one, which we'll get back to. No service password encryption, which is saying that none of our passwords are encrypted. This is a hostname, we assigned it. And that the only thing that we've really done is we disabled DNS lookup. These are our interfaces. You got interfaces 0, 1, 2, and the VLAN. And then our auxiliary lines, our console line, the one that we're using right now with the console cable, and then your virtual lines for SSH and telnet usage. Let's go back to config-t. Now let's start assigning some passwords. This is why that password encryption is important. We're gonna say enable secret class. Enable is the command used to enter privileged exec mode. That's the one to go from right here, right? From user exec mode into privileged exec mode, okay? Secret is the keyword that specifies the following argument is the secret password, which is class, all right? We will change this later on. So this is the actual secret password, right? Class. And then you hit enter. Let me back out real quick. You don't have to, every time I go back and forth with the running configuration, you don't have to do that. But if you want to verify that all your commands are taking place, then go ahead and do it. But here it is, enable. So let me back up some more. Okay. So I typed in right here, enable secret class. And then I exited, went back to privileged exec mode, went back into the show running configuration. It's building it for us. It now jumped up to 711 bytes. It's still the host name, but now we have a secret password, right? Can't tell what it is, but the rest of our passwords, which we will assign here in a second, there's still no password encryption. So we'll fix that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to enter the console line. So line con 0, this takes you to configuring the connection between the PC and the router using the console cable. And what we are going to do is assign it the password Cisco, enter, login, exit. Okay, next we're gonna enter lines VTY 04. Again, these are our virtual lines. These are the lines that we use to remote in using SSH and Telnet, which we will use, as you can see here on step 5. It'll be the last thing that we do. Hit enter. We are now inside of line V2Y, and we are going to also assign it the password Cisco. Enter, login, exit, shell running config. Here we go. This is where all of this is important. The password encryption. Okay. So let me back up a little bit here. The last command that we gave was to give the password Cisco to lines V2Y04. I exited out of all of that, went back to privileged exec mode. I am now running the running config, show us the running configuration. We're up to 750 bytes. Still no service password encryption. That is important because if anyone has access to the router and they enter the running configuration, they'll be able to see what these passwords are right down here. Line con 0 password Cisco. Line V2Y0 password Cisco. Okay, what we want to do is change that. So we're going to say configure terminal, and the command to do that is service space password encryption. Enter. Now back to the running config. Space, and look at that. Line con 0 password, random characters. Lines V2Y04 password, random characters. Now, whoever, obviously you can tell it's the same password because they have the same characters. It's whatever, right? Regardless, they don't know what the actual password is. So let us proceed. We're back into configure. Now we are going to add a little banner. And okay. Now right now it says press return to get started. All it says is user access verification. We already came up with a password for user exec mode, which was Cisco. Right above this, you should have a banner, something just reminding whoever's accessing that if they shouldn't be in there, they shouldn't be in here. Okay, it shouldn't just be a blank space. So we're in user exec mode. Now let's enter privileged exec mode. Enable. Password is class. Config team. Command for that is banner space motd, message of the day. And you need to have something called delimiting characters, which can be either like that, the hashtag symbol or the $sign. We'll use the $sign here. And you need to have 2 of them. And the message will go inside of these delimiting characters. So $sign space unauthorized access is prohibited. And we're yelling this at them. Space, close it out with the same delimiting character. There it is. Now I'm going to show to you guys what it looks like. There it is. Unauthorized access is prohibited. Next, what we are going to do is I'm going to show you a command to look at the interfaces. It's a brief summary, a summary table of what the interfaces are looking like. And for that, it's show IP int, which is short for interface, br, which is short for brief. Once you hit enter, this is what the table looks like. Here are your 4 interfaces. There's no IP addresses assigned to them, and they are all administratively down right now. There's no connectivity to them. So next, what we are going to do is assign an IP address to 001, and that is up here, 192.168.10.1. Config t interface G0/0/1. Hit enter. What you'll know about Cisco is that you can shorten most of the commands. Obviously you can type in the whole word, but it's such a pain in the ass, right? Interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/1. Boom. So what's easier to do, this or this? The longer the word is, the more susceptible you are to fat fingering a command. But at the same time, sometimes you think what the shortened version of the word is, and it's not, like show running configuration. I always type in SH instead of SHO. Anyways, so right now we are inside of G001. So to assign it an IP address, we will do IP address, IP space address, and then 192.168.10.1 space subnet mask will be 255.255.224. And I did something wrong because I'm an idiot. Oh, okay. I know what I did. 255.255.255.224. I missed one octet there. And then I'm going to do no shutdown. No shutdown is a command to open up that port. So once I hit enter, I want you to keep a close eye also on these. You're going to get a message verifying that one of the ports is now open, and that you'll see the connectivity running over here on our icons. Okay. Look at that. Here is our message. Interface gigabit Ethernet 001, change state to up. So now we're going to run this command again, show IP interface brief, and 001 is going to change to up and up. Okay. And show IP interface brief, gigabit Ethernet 001. Here's the IP address we just assigned to it. Status is up, protocol is up. We are cooking with oil. Next, we're going to change some passwords around, okay? Because we're getting ready to set up SSH. So first, we're going to redo service password encryption. Oh, service password encryption. I got this error right here, invalid input detected, because I wasn't in configuration mode. I was just in privileged. So then I entered configuration mode, reran service password encryption, good to go. And we're going to do security. All right, security passwords, minimum length 10 characters, and enter. So now, in order to enter privileged exec mode, the secret password is going to be Cisco enable, or enable password. Very secure, right? Enter. That's the new password. Okay. Line con 0. Password is going to be Cisco console password. Enter. Login. Exit. Now, we are going to assign ourselves a username and a password in order for us to enter remotely. Okay, so the username is going to be admin. The password is going to be admin1pass. Now, time to assign a domain. Remember that we removed our domain, our DNS lookup with the command no IP domain lookup. Now we're going to assign one. Okay, and that is going to be, and for training purposes, I'm just using mylab.com. You can use whatever you want. Okay, so IP domain name is going to be mylab.com, and enter. And then we're going to do crypto key. Crypto key generate, or SA general keys modulars. Now don't hit enter yet. Okay, so this command that we just to kind of back up. Okay, I assigned us a username which of admin, and the password of admin1pass. Again, this is for us to remote in, because in a second, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this console cable and we are going to remote from our PC using SSH into the router to access the same table, the same screen that we're looking at, but from our PC. Okay. Which technically right now we're looking at our PC, but through a different program. In a later video, I'm gonna show you guys how to set up the physical router and how you use a different program called PuTTY to access the router. Okay, and then I assigned us a domain, and the domain is gonna be mylab.com. Lastly, I added this command, crypto key generate RSA general keys modulus 1024. It's used in Cisco in order to generate these RSA key pairs for cryptographic purposes, such as securing communications with SSH, right, with secure shell. So the breakdown of the command is you have crypto key generate. Right? This part of the command indicates that you want to generate RSA key pair, right? And then the next one is, I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't, there we go. The next part is the general keys. And this option specifies that you want to generate general purpose RSA keys. They can be used for various cryptographic functions, okay? And then the last part, the modulus 1024, all that is that's the part of the command that specifies the size of the RSA keys. Right, so in this case, we did 1024 bits. Go ahead and hit enter, and you should get this right here. The key modulus size is 1024 bits, generating 1024 bit RSA keys. Keys will be non-exportable. Go ahead and hit enter a few times. Lastly, let's go ahead and activate SSH. Line VTY04. We are now inside of line VTY. Transport input will be SSH. Login will be local. And okay, we are done configuring the router. Let's see. Okay, line VTY, here's our password, transport, input, SSH. Okay, now click on the PC. The same thing, you're gonna have a bunch of these tabs up here. Select the desktop tab and select IP configuration. So the first thing we're gonna do is assign the IP address for the PC, 192.168.10.30. The IP, the subnet mask is 255.255.255.224. Oh shit, there was an extra period in there. 192.168.10.30. Okay, and then for the default gateway, 192.168.10.1. DNS server 8.8.8.8. So close this out, click on PC again, go to the desktop tab, now select command prompt. We're gonna maximize this a little bit. Now, what we've already done on the steps is we've done all this. We placed the icons, we configured the router, we configured the IP to the PC. Now we have to test connectivity and log in via SSH. So in order to test connectivity, we're going to use a command called ping, P-I-N-G. We are going to ping the router. 192.168.10.1. Look at that. That's exactly what you want to see right there. 4 packets sent, 4 packets received. Good to go. Now, the next command is to enter via SSH. The command for that is SSH space -L, and then your username, well, space username, admin, space 192, the IP address of the router, 168.10.1. Password, admin 1 pass. Unauthorized access is prohibited. There's our banner message of the day. We are now in user exec mode. Let's go to privileged exec mode, and the password is Cisco and pass. Would you look at that? Show running config. And look at that. And just to prove what I'm saying, I can do this. I can hit that. I'm just going to click away. I'm going to hit the X, and I'm going to delete this console cable. Okay, look at that. There is no console connectivity between the PC and the router. Right now, we're talking through SSH. Pretty cool. Okay, man, that was, let me look down here. How long has this video been going on for? An hour exactly. Oh my God. There's a lot of waiting around, and there's a lot of confirming of stuff. And anyways, I hope you guys learned a thing or two. Okay, at the end of the day, you should be able to, you know, you've done everything right with a few different queues. Let me do this. Let me take you back to the main. Where's my group? Here. Yeah. I guess I can have the camera now. Okay, so you know you've done this properly. If your markers here are green, you have some sort of connectivity. If you were able to not only just ping the router and get these the 4 packets sent and received, but then if you're able to SSH in there at any point in time, even if you want to, as soon as you launch the lab, one thing you can do is you can go straight to your PC and assign the PC, because you already have the IPs. You can go straight to your PC and assign the PC these IP addresses and get that out the way. That's perfectly fine. And then once you get to your router, as soon as you establish those IPs, just go over here, make sure everything's good to go before you enable changing passwords and establishing SSH and all that. Just make sure you have this connectivity right here. If you have any questions, any concerns, just comment down below and reach out to me via comments, social media, whatever the case may be, and I will help you get this lab done. Okay, so don't be afraid to reach out to me. What I'm going to link down below, the steps, verbatim, exactly everything you need to do. In fact, you don't even have to do anything. If the first time you want to do it, you just want to look at the commands back and forth, copy and paste, you'll have that. You're gonna have some shortcuts in there, and then I'm gonna link some videos on explaining some good explanation on IPv4 or just IP addressing in general. With that out the way, that brings this video to the end, and I will catch you guys on the next hilltop. Peace.